Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well. So in this video here, I know before I start, I'll probably sound a little bit different is because I'm using a different microphone. The last microphone that I had to use a ton of processing softwares to keep away background noise and all these things. That microphone is made for vocals and music in a treated environment, mostly a studio. So I switched over to a microphone that's more suited for podcasts and to do these kinds of things. So I don't have to worry about the neighbor dogs or if a car passing in the background. Hopefully you can enjoy this. I'm sorry for taking up a whole 30 seconds or more with the intro. But in this video here, I want to discuss what is better, getting a constellation for Arlecchino or going for her weapon. To be honest, this is something that I am searching up for myself, because let's say if I do get Arlecchino in like very early pity, do I use the remaining primos to go on the weapon banner, or do I get a constellation? We all know how the weapon banner could F us over so much. You could base, let me just explain it and done. So to guarantee a character in Genshin Impact, if you're on 50-50, it could cost you up to 25,000 primo gems, basically around 160 pearls if you are very unlucky like myself. And well, for the weapon banner, even though the soft pity is a lot less, honestly it's just about 10 pearls less. It's around 65 in the weapon banner and about 75 on the characters banner. That could really mess you up, because it has for me for a very long time. That's why I try to stay away from the weapon banner as much as I could. Unlike the character banner, where if you lose the first 50-50 you are guaranteed, for the weapon banner you could go like 2 whole pity before even being guaranteed to get the weapon. At that point there, you're basically lost out with could be like 3 new characters on your account. But enough talking about the weapon banner system and the character banner system. We all here to discuss is getting C1 or any constellation on Arlecchino a lot better than getting her weapon. Well, let me explain what her constellation is and like which order you should go for it if you are very limited on primos. Also, I strongly believe that Arlecchino doesn't need any constellation, but it's just an addition to her general kit. So, and it's good constellation, to be honest. Now I know you've been hearing this a lot, and to be honest, it's kind of true. Arlecchino's first constellation, Constellation 1, is very, very strong. I have a video explaining her kit, well, mostly the Bond of Life, but if you're not really sure about her kit and the things that I'm talking about, you could check that video out. I'll leave it down in the description down below. But her base kit, right, when you use the elemental skill, you will apply something called blood depth onto the enemies. And it's until when you do a charge attack, then you will get it back and you will get the damage bonus and pyro infusion. Now at talent level 8, I'll just keep it at 8 for now, the scaling of that damage bonus is about 200%. Let me give the approximate value of it. So when you get Constellation 1, you basically just add in another 100% of it. So it goes up to about 300%. Now wait, don't think that this is just a full 100% damage bonus. It will work out to be roughly between, I would say, 20 to 30% more damage, which is actually really good for Constellation 1 that isn't just a generic quality of life buff, but a straight up damage bonus. This is a great constellation to get. It's not needed, it's just for a little bit more damage. And with this Constellation 1, I should probably start talking about the weapon, because most of you might be thinking either to go for the weapon or get in Constellation 1. So what does her weapon do? It has the same attack and the same crit rate as the primordial Jade Wing Spear, which is 674 with about 22% crit rate. And well, the passive is mostly just for her to use. There's no other character that could take advantage of this weapon. So unless if you really want to use that character without a healer. If you have the Jade Spear and you're thinking about getting this weapon for somebody else, at this moment it isn't really worth it to use on any other character. And also you see how it turns into a sight? It's only Arlecchino that could do that. If you put this on any other character, it will basically just look like a normal generic pole arm. So what does it do? Basically it gives you a certain amount of bond of life, and then you get a damage bonus once you have the bond of life. And then the second part of the passive of it is, if you have a value of bond of life that is greater than a certain amount of HP that you have, then you will get additional damage bonus. I don't want to give out the value value of it, you know, are trying to be very careful right now, but you could probably understand what I'm saying. But at this current moment, for any other character, you might as well just use either the Primordial Jade Wing Spear, or you could just use the Staff of Homer. And yeah, that's her weapon. So honestly speaking, I was like contemplating if to go on the weapon banner or to get a C1. But looking at it right now, I think that C1 is a better value. Now, the only way I would see somebody choosing the weapon over Constellation 1 is basically for the drip. You know that this has to be one of the coolest looking weapons once Arlecchino is wielding it. It's a sight. There are no other weapons like this in the game. It's crazy. It's really amazing. It looks so good. So if you really want to go all out for Arlecchino but you have limited amount of Primo Gems, I would consider getting C0, then C1, and then maybe her weapon, and then moving forward from there. But what is the other constellation? I wouldn't like stay too long on them. I'll just quickly go over it. Okay, so Constellation 2. Basically, when you put the plot depth onto the enemies and you do a charge attack to retrieve it, she will basically do a AoE attack with a very high multiplier, which is, to be honest, it's like a nuke when it triggers. And this will trigger every 10 seconds, I believe. That's what Constellation 2 is. Constellation 3 is +3 to her normal attack, which is good because she is mostly a normal attacking character. Constellation 4, whenever you retrieve the blood depth from an enemy, she will regain 15 energy and it will reduce the cooldown of her ultimate by 2 seconds. Constellation 5 is just +3 to her burst, and Constellation 6, it increases the ultimate damage by an attack multiplied by 700% of her current bond of life. It's already making a nuke into a bigger nuke. And wait, there's more. When you do her elemental skill, she will gain 10% crit rate and 70% crit damage, and this could last for like 15 seconds. So yeah, it's just a big overall, it's crazy. This doesn't just buff her burst, it buffs her entire kit. It's not just one thing. So you get bigger burst damage, and now you're gonna do more damage when you do her normal attacks, which is, you know, if you're one of those person that does whale out, you're gonna have a very fun time with her Constellation 6. Well, yeah, that's our explanation of her constellations and her weapon. And honestly speaking, again, I will stick with it. If you get Arlecchino and you want to, you know, invest a little bit more into her, if you don't really care about the drip, I will understand why you would go for C1 first, because C1 has better value, but her weapon drip is just crazy. So personally, I would go C0, then C1, and then maybe get her weapon, but most likely I'm not even gonna get her weapon. So I'm just gonna stick with C1, and I already gave my recommendations for some awesome weapons that you could use on her if you're not getting her signature weapon. I will leave all that in the description down below. I have a video explaining the bond of life and her mechanics. I have a video with some teams that I would use with her, and I have a video explaining, I think it's not the same video, I think it's the same video explaining her teams. I explain what are some of her best alternative weapons for free-to-play low spenders, and well, if you have the money, most likely you're going for a signature. But yeah, that's our explanation of Arlecchino's weapon and constellation, which one you should prioritize. But you know, if you're somebody that's spending, this video means nothing to you. But hopefully, if you didn't know something, you learned something today. If I made any mistakes, you could just correct me down below. Before I go, let me know if you are a long-time viewer of mine and you are accustomed of the quality of my audio before from my microphone. Do you like the microphone before that I used to use, or do you think that this one is good enough to use? Let me know down below in the comment section down below, because I really want to know. This microphone really helps me because I don't have to worry too much about background noise and all these things. Like right now, normally I have to go and close up everything and make sure the neighbors aren't home or the dogs in outside and the cars not passing in the streets. And this video, I just basically just recorded it with, like not too many problems. So let me know in the comment section down below. I will drop my Discord down below. You could come and check me out. We could chat, we could talk sometimes. When Arlecchino is released on Tuesday night, I will be streaming this. So, you could come by, or you could just come and check me out in the stream. And well, yeah, hope you learned something from this, and hope this video was very helpful to you. Hit the like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.